I'm Representative Julianne Young. I'm here to answer 20 most frequently asked questions. Thank you for joining me. I've always been passionate about education. When I was a girl, it was my dream to be a teacher someday. My mom was a teacher. I married a husband whose mother was also a teacher, and I went to school to be a teacher. I've always been really passionate about the idea that good education addresses the needs of students. It should be student-centered and parent and teacher driven. Education should support teachers in meeting the real needs of real students. One of the biggest problems we have in education is that we get caught up in all of the programs and the policies that sometimes tie the hands of our teachers and make it more difficult for them to do their job. I'm opposed to policies that grade teachers based on the outcome of students. I support funding that goes directly to the classroom so that it best meets the needs of students and doesn't get wasted on bureaucratic programs. Absolutely, and my record proves it. The Idaho Farm Bureau puts together a scorecard which shows how legislators have voted on issues that are important to farmers. My score was a 100%. I'm also happy to report that the Farm Bureau awarded me the Friend of Agriculture Award this last year, and the Food Producers of Idaho also awarded me the Ag All-Star Award. I'm happy and proud to support Idaho agriculture. The thing that I have loved the most is the opportunity to work with other people to actually make a difference. We face so many challenges in today's world and often feel completely powerless. But I've been blessed to have the opportunity to really make a difference for Idaho citizens this last year, and it has been both energizing and invigorating. It's been a pleasure to serve you. One of the most thrilling experiences of my service in the legislature was feeling the support of my fellow legislators in both the House and the Senate for House Bill 509 and seeing Idaho's governor sign that into law. When I first got over to the legislature, I was surprised to find that biological sex, as a fact, was being erased in the state of Idaho, and many people told me nothing could be done about it. However, after careful study, we reached the conclusion that having accurate records was in fact vital for the state of Idaho and for those of us who live by the policies that are affected by these statistics. I was grateful for the strong support of fellow legislators, for the support of Idaho's governor, as well as hundreds of citizens throughout the state of Idaho who came together on this important issue. One of my greatest strengths as a legislator is that I came to this job not looking for a hobby, but because I'm absolutely passionate about the freedom that we have been blessed with as Americans. I'm so grateful for our inspired Constitution, for the way that it secures our rights. And I'm committed not to a policy or to a person or to a group of anyone, but to defending the things that have made us free. One of the things that really struck me when I got to the legislature was the way that everything is so formal. There's a rule for when you speak, for how you speak, for where you sit, for when you can get out of your chair. Everything has a rule. I grew to really appreciate the way that our process is steeped in civility and expectations about how we're going to discuss issues and how we're going to resolve them and move forward peacefully as united Americans. Government has grown at 2.5 times the rate of our economy over the last 20 years, and taxes have also grown. Property taxes, any taxes really, are something that there will never be an easy answer for. The most fair tax is the tax that's paid by the people who directly benefit from it. and the one that people have an opportunity to vote on, to either support or oppose. Consequently, I have supported reforms to our property tax system, and I have also supported efforts to ensure that voters have a greater opportunity to either support or oppose the taxes that they will be paying. I get asked this question all the time. I don't do it all by myself, and I don't do everything, but I am committed to giving everything I have. I've been the first one at the legislature almost every morning. I spent long days working hard, and the thing that keeps me going is my commitment to the principles, to the country that I love, and my conviction that we live in a unique time where people are needed to stand up for the things that we value more than ever before. I also owe a great debt to my family, who have supported me 100% in the work that I've done. Thank you to them and to the residents of Bingham County for the opportunity to serve you. Idaho's special session was one of the most exciting legislative experiences I've had so far. Some of you may have seen the news about the unhappy public and some of the things that interrupted our work during the special session. But I had the opportunity to sponsor the bill that was really the center of the entire session and address the concerns of schools, businesses, churches, and others throughout the state who were worried that as they tried to open up, they would be hit with a frivolous lawsuit because somebody involved in their activities got COVID. This was a difficult issue because the public is frustrated with regulation and wants to ensure that government is accountable. Yet this was a bill that gave immunity from liability. Thankfully, we were able to find a solution that addressed both the concerns of the public and the concerns of our schools, businesses, and others throughout the state, and effectively move that legislation through both the House and the Senate. It's been a pleasure to see Idaho farms, businesses, schools, and churches up and running without concern about these frivolous lawsuits. Wow. You know, you'd never think that a group that has a specific set of conservative questions like, does this grow government? Does it increase taxes? And scores bills based on these kinds of common sense issues that most people have in common would draw as much controversy as the Idaho Freedom Foundation does. Those scores are then reflected in a scorecard that shows how legislators vote over time. Personally, I think that they draw this kind of criticism and controversy because they're effective at making government more transparent and helping voters recognize how people are voting. The Idaho Freedom Foundation doesn't have membership and doesn't exercise any control over anyone's vote. They're not the only ones who produce scorecards that show a person's votes over time. The Farm Bureau has a scorecard. The Water Users Association has a scorecard. The Conservative Union, the American Conservative Union, has a scorecard. The NRA has a scorecard. These scorecards are intended to be tools for voters. And I'm happy to report that all of these scorecards, the American Conservative Union, the NRA, the Farm Bureau, the Water Users Association, and the Idaho Freedom Foundation scorecards all show that I have a strong conservative record for standing up for our Second Amendment rights, for truly conservative policies and smaller government, and for the concerns of our agricultural community. The Freedom First Society is a national organization. It's different from the Idaho Freedom Foundation. Its mission is to support and preserve the United States Constitution. Freedom First Society is concerned about international efforts that undermine national sovereignty. A great example of this, which we've seen a great deal in the news over the last years, has been the European Union and what has happened to the sovereignty of many of the European nations as they have participated in that. Freedom First Society is interested in preserving United States sovereignty, and the United States Constitution. I'm proud to stand up for the United States Constitution. I believe that America should remain free, strong, and independent. Consequently, I have supported the Freedom First Society in our area and have sincerely appreciated the many good people who share those values. Throughout history, when a people's right to bear arms has been impinged on or taken away, that's when government gets out of control. Preserving the Second Amendment is about a lot more than just hunting trips. It's about preserving American freedom. I solidly support and will defend our Second Amendment rights. The Safe Schools Database Bill came about because a parent in the Idaho Falls School District discovered that the library database K-12 students were using was full of obscene material from magazines like Cosmo and Redbook. And after we had already worked with the Library Association to have these materials removed, we found that many were still there. We reached the conclusion that schools and teachers needed a legal tool in order to hold these database providers accountable for ensuring that these databases are safe for Idaho students. The Safe Schools Database Act had strong support in both House and Senate and has provided parents and teachers with the needed tool. The Women in Sports Bill, sponsored by Representative Barbara Ehart, ensured that biological males who have an unfair physical advantage statistically over females are not allowed to take the place of biological females on women's sports teams, securing to females the benefits that have been so hard won under Title IX. This bill and the Idaho Vital Statistics Act both worked their way through the legislature at the same time. Both bills serve to protect the legal identity and protections for women in the state of Idaho. I believe one of the greatest challenges that we face as a state going forward is the increasing division in our society. People increasingly mistrust government and our public processes. I believe that one of the most important things we can do as an Idaho legislature is to conduct business in a way that secures the trust and confidence of the people of the state of Idaho by genuinely representing their interests and concerns with integrity. I didn't set out to be involved in politics. I've been a mom. That's my favorite job. However, my husband and I had some experiences that really highlighted the importance of government and how it impacts our private lives. Consequently, I chose to get involved and found that I was able to make a significant difference. I understand that as an American, we cannot hope for a better world if we're not willing to get in and do the work of helping to shape it. I got a lot of questions about Idaho water rights when I first ran for office, and it seemed like kind of an intimidating topic. But I found that as I was willing to dig in and do my homework, this issue has become something that I won't claim to be an expert on, but something that I'm very comfortable addressing. I'm grateful for the opportunities that I've had to work with water users here in our district to address issues of concern and contention at the state level and to work to find solutions. First of all, my opponent is a Democrat, while I'm a Republican, which means that we've chosen to align ourselves with very different platforms. The Republican platform centers on the values of family, smaller government, and freedom, while the Democratic platform reads like a list of demands. I've also worked very hard to be transparent with voters about what my principles are and what they can expect from me. And I've kept the promises that I've made. On the other hand, I'm not really sure exactly what my opponent's platform is, other than I hear a lot of things that he believes that he disagrees with me on. The willingness to be transparent with voters about the platform that one will represent if elected, and the care one takes to ensure that we represent issues accurately in the public forum are both important characteristics of anyone hoping to run for public office. Voters can count on me to accurately represent who I am and then to follow through on the platform that I have promised to support and defend. House Joint Resolution 4 is a constitutional amendment which would lock in the number of legislative districts in the state of Idaho at 35. Currently, our state constitution allows that we may have fewer districts, but not more. Having fewer districts puts rural areas at a disadvantage because it means that the districts are larger and that representation is more diluted. So locking in those districts at 35, which is what we already have, is to our advantage. Some have confused this resolution with parts of the Republican platform related to the 17th Amendment, claiming that somehow someone is trying to repeal the 17th Amendment with this resolution. I don't like the ugliness of politics. There are times when it's important to disagree over significant issues and to be willing to take the heat. But those issues are best addressed when the discussion is civil and centered on the issues. One important principle that I've learned while serving in the legislature is that while we can debate about issues, we cross a line the moment we begin accusing another person's motives or condemning their character. This principle can help us in our local political discussions as well. Politics can be ugly, but when I find that I'm able to make a difference for other people, it makes it worth it. I choose to run for public office in spite of the ugliness of politics because I'm confident in my ability to defend the rights and interests of my friends and neighbors here in Bingham County. Thank you for voting Young for Idaho House this November 3rd.